I'm going to share with you a little bit about how I go about making a small X-ray. I don't have one in front of me, but you're familiar with that. You just look it up, the X-Rhea Hunter. And on my website, I may have Deer Hunter or Deer Skinner labeled on it. But this is what I typically start with right here. It's 1/4 by 1 inch by 4.5. The anvil is 4 inches across, and I just simply hung it out a little bit and cut it off. So it's 1/4 by 1 by 4.5. And what I'll typically do is use 50% of that material will be drawn out for that long rat tail. So that's important to get some of these ratios right. And why is that? Why is it important to have those ratios correct? What if you don't have this size material, but say you got that size material? And by the way, these are really hot. So I've got my little hot finger here pointing at it. The reason why it's important is because say you got this piece, you can still make an X-Rhea Hunter, but it can be a real small one, or any size in between. But what the key to making these things work is to remember that 50% for the tail and the other 50% is for the rest of the knife. If you want to make a real small one, then get the ratio, the width times the length, pretty well the same. So that's about 2/3 the length, and it's about 2/3 the width. If I fold that up on there, it's going to be about right there. And it's thinner. You see it's sitting down a little bit. So I thinned it down. Actually, I did that out of the same bar, but I wanted to show you that you thin it a little and get the ratios really close. So 50% of this would be the tail, and 50% on this side would be the ricasso area and the blade. So that's an important thing that I think you ought to know if you're going to attempt all this stuff. It's really easy once you get it understood. So I'm going to move this little one out of the way, and I'm going to heat that big one up. And we're going to start step by step. And these other steps may be on a different video, which is fine. I'll use that. That's going to end up to be an X-Rhea knife. And it's still the same material, ADCRV2. It's got 80 points of carbon. It's got vanadium, chromium, and in that name, ADCRV2, there are some indications that tell you the quantity of some of those alloys. Some of that may or may not be interesting to you, but if you're into blade steels, you're going to need to know that. It may, just knowing the name of the steel might cause you to shy away from it for forging or for a blade. In this case, this steel is good for both forging and for blades. So that's why it's such a good steel and a good choice for what I'm doing. Okay. And another thing about your bar size, you should have some tongs that will help you to hold the size stock that you are going to use. And let's just say it's halfway between that and this. It might be 7/8 or 3/4 by width this way, and then it may be 3 3/4 long and 3/16 thick. Well, then use tongs that'll fit your stock, your chosen stock, what you have. And another thing I do, I'll start with a longer bar sometimes, knowing what size that I'm going to use. And let's just say I know I'm going to use 4.5 inches off that long bar. So I divide that 4.5 inches in half, go 2 1/4, and that's my tail. And then I'll wait till I get that part done and cut it off the bar 2 1/4 from where the step is when I step it down on the anvil. So it's just simple as that. You got to learn to be able to make these things in different manners, and you get a good understanding of what you're doing. So anyway, let's get this hot, and I'll be trying to we may do this first step, and I'll show you how to step it down on the anvil. And then we may end the video and proceed with other videos right behind it. So we'll see how this works. Again, we're kind of new at this, so bear with us. This knife, the X-Rhea, was designed around the simple blacksmith shop with coal forge. You got your heat source, which is very specific. You can isolate the heat in a certain spot, and that's good for this project. Using a gas forge with a bigger chamber and a lot of heat spread out, it makes it more difficult. Actually, it doesn't seem like it would, but it does on this project. And then we got the anvil and hammer, and we got the vise. This vise is going to be key to a lot of the steps and the work that goes into the knife. So a good post vise, solid post vise, is going to be important. This process is kind of forgiving, actually. If you get off on your numbers a little bit and you're using a big bar, say you're supposed to be using 2 1/4 for that step down and pull out to approximately 8-inch tail. 8 inches is about the target for this size, incidentally. So say you go 2 instead of 2 1/4. Well, you just make a little smaller knife. Make the blade a little smaller, and it's proportionate to the tail. It's just that simple. Okay, so we're gonna isolate. So I'm eyeballing half of that. Already it's grown about 1/4, but it's also thickened. So the material hadn't grown lengthwise, but it's thickened a lot. So we're going to draw that out, and that material, if you think about it, that's 1 inch by 1/4, and we're going to displace it out. And so as it tapers and gets longer, both directions, it's tapered this way and this way, it'll easily reach 8 inches. Because it's like cutting that in 4 pieces and laying them end to end. That's actually 8 3/4 or 9, close to 9. But we're tapering it, so it's a different way of displacing, and we want the handle to be sufficiently strong, and it will be by going 8 inches. Okay, we're going to end it right there. That's how you step it down, 50-50, and we'll get back and do some more when we get it drawn out and kind of in better shape for another part of it. So thanks for watching.